Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome to episode 3 of the Right Now. Get it? Because if not now, then when? That's right. I said it. So let's put some headphones on while we're listening to this video. Get up and go do that task that you've been procrastinating. And remind yourself that you're a lot stronger than you think you are. And get moving. Just like we're going to get moving into the topic of this video. Ooh, yikes. This one is a little bit of a doozy for me. I don't know about y'all. But this was literally just the other day. This struck me like a brick hitting my head at 100 miles per hour. I am so serious when I say for years, I could not figure out for the life of me what it was about this particular word that was so bothersome. And I had just finished watching another video on a particular topic on YouTube, and I was reflecting and my gears were going, and I came to this particular topic and it just hit me. I was flabbergasted. I literally sat there like this. But anyway, let me not beat around the bush. Closure is a lie. That is what I figured out. Closure is an absolute lie. It is just a disguise that keeps you stuck in the past. And that word, closure, oh, so bothersome for me, so bothersome. I don't like that word, and I have a history with that word, which is why I also said it took me years to figure this out. I used to think closure was something that would set me free, but in all reality, like I said, it's just a disguise that keeps you stuck longer. And no one talks about this, I feel like. I haven't heard anyone speak about this. But chasing closure, I feel like, might just be the very thing that's actually stopping you from healing. So if you feel like you're chasing closure, I think this video is for you, because we are going to dig into it. If you've ever replayed conversations or waited for answers from someone, hoping that they'd come forward to you about it, or you felt like you needed an apology in order to move on and heal yourself, stay and let's talk about it. Because you don't. You don't need it. I promise you don't need it. There was a particular situation that happened to me years ago. I'm talking like 2018, 2019-ish. And it took me almost 4 years to heal from it. Why? Simply because I was stuck on the fact that I thought I needed closure from the people involved in that situation. 4 years I was stuck in a loop. 4 years stuck in the past, replaying conversations, opening up old wounds, and finally one day I decided to stop. But even since then, I could not figure out why I felt like that for so long, why I felt like I needed closure. Yeah, I moved on. Yeah, I was fine. I healed. I grew. I learned. But it still bugged me at the fact that it took that long for me to realize that I didn't need closure. And the other day, when this hit me in the head, I finally realized why I felt like I needed it. But before we get into that part, let's just briefly explain what is closure. What is it? So, by definition, an emotional sense of finality and or resolution after a difficult event or relationship. So, closure is a sense of finality, right? It's the idea that you need answers or explanations or a final conversation to move on or heal. And again, you don't need it. You just don't. You really don't. And this is the idea that hit me the other day. Closure is like grief. It's like the 5 stages of grief until you reach acceptance. That's basically what it is. But what if closure isn't something that you get? It's actually something you decide. Just like I said years ago, after 4 years of being stuck in a loop, one day I got up and I just finally decided that I'm done. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to stay in the moment. So what if closure isn't something that you actually get, but it's actually something you decide? You decide mentally. I said this in my first video. It's all about you, your decisions. You control yourself, your behaviors, your reactions, right? We want control over things that we cannot control. And that is essentially what keeps us stuck, because we want control over what hurt us. We think that answers are going to equal that peace that we're looking for, and we believe that those answers have to come from someone else in order to heal. And it is the exact opposite. Exact opposite. Closure feels like clarity, but most of the time it's actually just an attachment in disguise. That's essentially what I came to in conclusion when I was sitting and thinking about this the other day. Like I said, it's like grief, right? With grief, when something happens or someone passes away, or you're grieving a friendship that you had, or a person that was in your life and they're still alive, they're just no longer in your life, right? You are essentially grieving the past. You are grieving memories you had. And you're going to go through all of the 5 stages of grief, right? We have denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, right? Now, I have also learned that with grief, you don't go through the 5 stages in the order that they say. Normally, you're bouncing back between them over and over and over and over and over again. But denial. Usually that means you're trying to process what happened, right? You're in disbelief about it. You're trying to figure it out. You're like, what the heck just happened? What's going on? And then you get anger. You're mad. You're pissed. You have no idea how to even go about it. You want to obliterate everything in your path. Now, I don't know about you guys, but usually when I'm really angry, that's what that's like for me. I want to literally destroy everything in my way. And I've learned to control that. I've learned to control that because I don't want to make people who are not involved collateral damage when they don't deserve that. Bargaining. You're trying to figure out what to do to move forward. You might even be begging someone to stay in your life. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. But usually this is where you're stuck thinking that you need the closure. It's when you hit that bargaining stage. And then you get depression, you're sad about it, you're upset. This is where you really actually start to grieve. You really start to feel your feels. And then you hit acceptance. This is where you finally decide to move on. This is why I say that closure isn't something you get. It's something you decide. And you may go through these 5 stages of grief in different orders or go back and forth between a couple of them. I know I did over those 4 years that I was racking my head wanting closure. I knew I was going back and forth between depression and anger and bargaining and denial. I was going here to here to here to here, all over the place. But you decide when it's time to accept it all at the end of the day. And when you accept that, that's usually, I feel like it's usually when you're finally fed up. You're like, I'm done. Really, I am. And I'm going to say this from my perspective, my experience. So, this thing that happened was a pretty big betrayal for me. It involved a couple of people. And it's probably the thing at the top of my list that broke me the most. I mean, I felt like any idea of love, friendship, loyalty, commitment, trust, all of the things you could think of, I felt like it was all molded into a glass vase in the shape of my heart. And then when that situation and that betrayal happened, it felt like someone threw it off of a skyscraper and it hit the bottom and shattered into a million pieces. Any idea of love, friendship, all of that stuff, I felt like just turned into powder. So much so to the point where I felt like I could not pick up the pieces. Something would always be missing. And over the course of those 4 years, I was looking for answers. I was looking for clarity. Even though I knew the answer, I knew it deep down. I knew the truth. I had known for a while, stuck in that denial phase for a very long time. And I replayed the situation in my head over and over and over and over again. And when I would do that, that's when the anger would come in. I would get so mad at myself. How did I miss it? How did I miss this? How did I miss that? Red flag on top of red flag on top of red flag, and I missed them all. I ignored them. I knew they were there. I should have listened to my gut. And then I would hit the bargaining phase, right? I would try and figure out, okay, maybe if I talk about it this way, I'll be able to get the answer that I'm looking for. Or maybe if I talk to this person and maybe I can trap them in that lie that they've created. Because I knew the truth. I knew it. And I was so bent on trying to hear it from them, thinking that I needed to hear it from their mouth in order to be at peace, that I would try and figure out ways I could tiptoe around it. Or I think I even tried making up a fake situation where I said a friend of a friend figured it out, and none of that worked. None of that worked. It honestly just pissed me off even more, and it made me really sad. It made me really, really, really sad. Depression. But instead of healing and moving on from it, I spiraled for 4 years. Wasted so much time that I could have been more present in the moment. And I used to wake up pissed, start off my day on the wrong side of the bed, because I'd be thinking about the situation over and over and over and over again, and I would get mad at myself. Why do I keep thinking about it? I need closure. I need to figure out how I can get these answers from them so I can stop thinking about this situation. That was not going to get me anywhere. It just wasn't. Once I learned that I needed to just accept what had happened and move on, alongside with learning how to take my pain and turn it into power, my first video, things no longer sit with me as long as they used to. I am able to pick up myself and get on with my life a lot quicker. And something recently actually happened too with someone very close to me in my life. And it hurt really bad. It hurt so bad. I think this was sometime last year when it happened. And I was so hurt. So hurt. That's probably the second thing on my list that broke me the most out of everything that's happened in my entire life. But learning how to take that pain and channel it and fuel myself instead, and then accepting it and just giving myself the closure that I needed, doing those two things, I was up and back on my feet in a week. Cried the first night, next day, numb. Next day, a little less numb. Channeled it, focused on other things, looked at the goals that I needed to focus on and work on in my life, got moving. I had nursing school to get through. I said, I can't do this. Took me a week tops. I was back, unbothered. Said, you know what, screw this. Why? Because I understood what my self-worth was. And I knew that I didn't deserve what had happened to me. Not back then, not now. And I knew that my worth was seen by people who deserved my energy. So whatever was meant to stay in my life would stay, and what needed to leave would leave, even if it left in a painful way. But I knew it needed to go. And as mad and as frustrated I would be in situations like that, I would rather be mad and let God take the wheel rather than sit there and sulk in it and waste away my present moments, because life is too fleeting and too short to waste your time. Anything can happen. Anything. At the end of it all, I just realized that overthinking things, going back, reopening old wounds, all it did was make me attached to that situation longer. And you can't change the past. So what's the point in directing all of your energy towards something that you can't change? Instead, you should be directing your energy towards stuff that you can change and things that you can control. Said this all in my first video. All of these things tie together, guys. All of them tie together. And quick shout out to my best friends. Thank God that he put them in my life, because they heard me talk about these situations over and over and over and over and over and over again. And they stuck with me through it all. I mean, I can't count probably hundreds of times that I've repeated talking about those situations over the years that I was healing from it. But anyway, let's break down some clear points, because I know I was mumbling quite a bit. So, what is it that's keeping you stuck in the past? It's you reliving those moments instead of moving forward. That's point blank period what it is. You are replaying a situation over and over and over in your head. I mean, think about it in simple terms, right? You're so occupied by something that happened in the past, something that you can't change. You're standing in the kitchen pouring your coffee. You're stuck back there. Your coffee overflows. You burn your hand. You're not in the present moment. Now think about how many small little moments you are missing in life because your brain keeps going back there. It's not helpful to you. It's not going to do anything for you. Next, it gives your power away because you keep telling yourself that you need to rely on someone else or something else in order for you to complete your healing. No, you don't. And you saying that you need to rely on someone else or something else to complete said healing, that is going to trigger the next key point. You are fueling self-blame. That's really what this all boils down to as well. You are more likely mad at yourself rather than the situation or the person. You can be mad at both, but the anger is probably more directed towards yourself. Like I would say 70% at yourself and 30% at what actually happened and the people involved. Because you keep rethinking it and you're like, oh, I missed this. Oh man, why didn't I see that coming? I should have seen it come. Stop. Take a breather. Breathe. When you do that, it makes you less forgiving towards yourself. And it fuels even more frustration because what I remember happening to myself was I would get mad at the things I missed, and then I would get mad at myself because I couldn't figure out why I was so mad at myself. I don't know if that makes complete sense. It makes sense in my head. Like, I was mad at myself in the situation that happened because I missed those key things that I should have seen. And then I would get so mad at myself because I couldn't figure out why I was so mad at myself, because I did the best that I could with the information that I had and with what I knew and what I learned. So I was less forgiving to myself, and this also hit me the other day. I realized I was so mad at myself because the potential I saw in someone else was not actually there. I saw what I would have done in their shoes. Let me say that again. Let me say it one more time. I was so mad at myself because the potential I saw in someone else, the person who particularly did me dirty, or people that did me dirty, the potential I saw in those people was not actually there. I was projecting what I would have done in their shoes. And that made me more mad at myself because I had this hazy gloss, this painting I put in my head, perfect painting, but I wasn't looking at reality. I was painting this perfect picture, this beautiful landscape, but really it was raining and dark and gloomy. But I didn't want to look at that because what I was looking at was, oh, it's okay. When the clouds go away, it'll look like this. Those clouds, in fact, did not go away. And I fooled myself into believing that they would be like me. And that was also part of the reason why I was so mad at myself. used to have this notion in my head that the people in my life think like me, but back then that was not the case at all. Those people did in fact not think like me whatsoever. At all. And because I thought that, again, I painted a picture that was not real. And closure isn't going to take away the anger that you have towards yourself. It's honestly probably just going to fuel it more. You already know the answer. What is hearing it from someone else going to do for you? Help you come out of that denial? What if you never hear it from someone else? Then what are you going to do? Be stuck in denial forever? It's not going to help you. It just won't. I said this in my first video. Your emotions are valid because it's something you would have never done to those people. It would have never crossed your mind. And that's also why it hurts so much. Because you physically and mentally cannot comprehend why someone would do something to you when it's something you would have never done. So if it's something that you were able to sit back and say, I would have never done that to them. It would have never even crossed my mind. So why did it cross theirs? You're going to feel even more hurt. You're going to feel even more hurt by that. But again, I'm going to reiterate this again. You not understanding why someone did something that hurt you is a blessing in disguise. Because it means you have a heart of gold. It means you're pure. But what are we going to do about all of this? What do we do? How do we get past this without looking for external sources to help us come to that closure? Reflect. Reflection. Journaling. Writing it down. Talking it out in a voice memo. Try to see what it is that you're really mad at. Are you mad at yourself or are you mad at them? Are you mad at yourself or are you mad at them? It could be both too. And if it's both, try to separate what it is that you are actually mad at for each individual. What are you mad at when it comes to yourself pertaining this situation? And then separate that from what are you mad about when it comes to the person particularly. Separate those two. Once you figure out what's making you mad at yourself, forgive yourself. Because again, you did the best you could at the time that it happened with the knowledge that you had. I'm going to say it again. You did the best you could at the time that it happened with the knowledge that you had. So give yourself some grace. It creates a false finish line when you keep trying to chase closure and that false finish line keeps getting further and further away from you. You know, like those like in those horror movies where the person's at the end of the hall and it looks like the hall is elongating even more. That's what that false finish line is like. It's like the door is just getting further and further away from you. Because when you say, once I get closure, I'll be okay, you're not going to get anywhere. You just won't. Healing doesn't work like that. Because it's not linear either. Healing's not linear. You want closure because you think it's going to help you heal. So how do you do that? You give it to yourself. You accept it and you move on. Get up and move on. Stop circling your brain around something you cannot go back and change. We don't have time machines. It's not going to work. Move on. Figure it out. Figure out what you want to do with your life. That's what you have to do. I realized that closure, wanting closure from an external source wasn't actually helping you. It was just hurting me more. And your mindset needs to shift. What you have to do is stop looking for external answers and start focusing on yourself and looking for answers that particularly pertain to your growth, your self healing, and becoming the better version of yourself. Now, that being said, you have to accept the fact that you may never get the answers that you're looking for. In my particular situation, like I said, I thought that it would help me if I heard it directly from those people's mouths. But you may never get those answers. You may never actually get that. And that's okay, because you don't need it. You don't need it. This is where you create your own closure through acceptance, not explanations. Explanations are not going to give you the closure that you were looking for. Accepting what happened will. And focus on the present moment. I was wasting away the present time trying to fix the past. But instead, you should try to see the good things that are going on in your life in that moment. Try to look at the good stuff. What's going right? What's going well for you? And then also redirect your energy towards the goals that you lost sight of. See what goals you were trying to complete, the ones that particularly pertain to bettering your life and helping you become that higher version of yourself, and start putting your energy towards that. Because that, again, that is what God, universe, life, whatever you believe in, that is what it looks at. It looks at your energy. Where are you putting your energy? Are you putting it towards the past? And if you are, you're going to stay stuck in the past. Are you putting it towards your future? Your goals? If you're putting it towards your goals in your future, you're going to see those goals come to life. And practice self-forgiveness. Let go of that guilt and that self-blame. Just stop doing it. It's not going to help you. Blaming yourself is also not going to get you anywhere. Because you live and you learn. It's as simple as that. You live and you learn. And another thing, gratitude. Gratitude. I cannot stress this enough. Look for the good in it all and be grateful, because there is always something to learn. Always. I always looked for what God was trying to teach me. Whatever you believe in, look at what was trying to be taught to you in that situation. Look at what you learned or should have learned. Reflect on that, because most of the time your closure is not only from accepting what happened, but it is also from understanding the lessons you were being taught. That reflection is your closure. That is how you give yourself closure. Reflecting on what you were being taught and understanding it and then applying it. Don't make the same mistakes again. Otherwise, you're going to keep yourself in a cycle again. For me particularly, that one situation, over those 4 whole years of wasting away the present moment, I did learn a lot from it. That one situation and all that time I spent healing taught me a lot. So much. I thanked God every day at the end of my little crying to bed sessions and being angry at God for what he was putting me through. At the end of it all, every single night, I thanked God. Because honestly, if I had a time machine and I could go back and do it all again, not knowing what I know now, I would still do it again. Because those people, what they did, and then them walking away afterwards, taught me to never beg anyone to stay ever again. I will never beg anyone to stay in my life ever again, because what is meant to stay in my life will stay in my life, and what is meant to leave will leave, even if it's painfully. I will never beg for anyone ever again. And I also learned through them that my self-worth isn't something you can bargain for. You cannot bargain my self-worth. What do I mean by that? I mean, I am not up for bidding. I am not up for being used when you feel like I'm convenient to you and then tossing me aside when I'm being inconvenient for you. Absolutely not. And you should think the same way about yourself. Your self-worth is not something to be bargained for. People who see your worth will keep you around, and they will do everything that they can to keep you in your life and make sure you are appreciated. They will make it known. Why? Because they understand what you're really worth. And that situation, that really drilled that into my head. Which is also why when whatever happened with me last year in a particular person, I knew not to let my self-worth be bargained for. I knew what I was worth. I knew what I brought to the table. And I was not going to go chasing closure when I knew the kind of person I was, how I treated them, and I knew how I should have been treated. So I no longer tolerated it. I also learned very harshly that words can be hollow and eyes can mislead, unfortunately. And the attention that we cling to, it can sometimes be worth absolutely nothing. Because in our eyes, we cling to that attention and we think it means something, but it could very well be that to the other person, it means absolutely nothing. And the words that you were told and the eyes you looked into, all misleading. And yes, that is a tough pill to swallow. And yes, it hurts. But at the end of the day, if you know your self-worth, you know that whatever is supposed to come your way will come your way. Only if you let go of what is trying to leave. And it's all you. If there's no one for you, if everyone in your life leaves and you feel like you have no one, there's still someone, and it's yourself. You still have yourself. Don't lose yourself trying to beg other people to stay in your life. Don't do that to yourself. And I'm not going to sit here and say that it's bad that you're still looking for answers, or that you shouldn't be looking back, or that it's pathetic that you haven't let go. If someone is telling you that, bye-bye. You don't need to hear any more of that, because it's okay that you still want answers. It's okay that you're still looking for answers. It's okay that it's hard to let go for you. I understand that. As an emotional overthinker, I get it. Us emotional overthinkers, we we try to comprehend why things are the way that they are, or why certain things happened that were out of our control. And we think that understanding those things, understanding that why, is going to give us that sense of control. But in all reality, it's not something that's given to you. Closure isn't something that's given to you, it's something you choose. At the end of the day, you are the decision maker in this entire process. And that is what's going to give you control. That is what's going to give you the control you are looking for. You are the driver to your life. You decide where you want to turn and where you want to stop and where you want to take a detour. That's all up to you. You're not sitting in the passenger seat. Life isn't driving, you are. Life isn't driving you, you are driving your life. And the moment you stop chasing that closure, I truly believe that that is the moment that you really start to heal. And you really start to see things from a different perspective. Because in all reality, you don't need the closure to move on, you just need the courage to stop looking back. That's what it is. You just need the courage to stop looking backwards. And ask yourself this. Are you really looking for closure? Or are you avoiding letting go? Are you really looking for closure, or are you really attached to the situation and the people and the memories, and you're just looking for that attachment again, that feeling, that memory? It's like that saying, like, you don't miss the person, you miss the feeling that they gave you. Or you don't miss the person in your life, you're just missing the good memories that you're looking back on. It's like that. Are you really looking for closure, or are you just avoiding letting go? Comment down below if you've ever felt stuck like that. Let me know. And if any of you have any other perspectives, put that down below too. Let's help each other. Let's help everyone see things in a different light. And again, as per usual, I hope whatever it is that you're going through happens a little less painfully and happens quickly, so that you can get working on the better version of yourself. And make sure you're taking care of yourself. Stay hydrated. If you haven't eaten today, go eat. If you haven't taken a nap and you need one, get some sleep. Take care of yourselves. And I hope this video was helpful. I will see you guys in the next one.